as you said, I've been doing this 40 years, and I started in a dealership as a technician with my family, and I've done road service calls, and I've rescued people on the sides of the roads during their vacations, and it's always the same thing. I didn't think it was going to be a problem until it was.
Hello and welcome everyone to a brand new episode of the Auto Tech Show, our podcast that of course is dedicated to the latest innovation and biggest talking points and trends from around the automotive industry. Today we're talking about a national awareness campaign in the United States, National Tire Safety Week. It is an especially important week for those in the industry, as it's a primary opportunity every single year to bring heightened awareness for our tire safety, from proper maintenance to routine checks and replacements. Now, joining me for this episode, I'm overly excited to welcome two very special guests. The first is the Vice President of Public Affairs at the U.S. Tire Manufacturer Association, Kleine. Kim and her amazing team of leading tire manufacturers are the primary drivers for Tire Safety Week, and she'll be able to provide some real insights into the importance of what this week's goals are on behalf of the Association of Tire Manufacturers, and adding some great practical insights and experience. With more than an incredible 40 years in the tire industry, I'm very pleased to welcome Kevin Rohlwing, the Chief Technical Officer at Tire Industry Association, an association that's been around, if you can believe it, for more than 100 years, since 1921, and whose mission is to promote tire safety through real-life training and education. Kim, Kevin, a massive thank you for your time today. I know how hectic your schedules must be leading up to Tire Safety Week, so I'm very thankful for you to be here. Thank you for your time today, and welcome to the show.
Great. Thanks, Mark. It's really great to be here with you too. And we appreciate all you're doing at Anyline to help raise awareness about the topic of tire safety. It is such an important but often overlooked topic of conversation. And why? Because virtually every aspect of our lives and economy relies on some form of transportation supported by tires. Just think about it, like as an individual or family, whether you have a car, whether you take a cab or a bus, tires help us to get to important destinations like our jobs. They help us get to the grocery store, run our errands, to our medical appointments. Tires get a lot of our children to school, and they take us to and from our loved ones. I also think about the important people, services, and the American industries that rely on tires, like our nation's amazing truck drivers who they transport millions of goods each day, our U.S. postal workers, our police and our firefighters, our critical medical professionals, including EMS, our bus drivers, our airline pilots, our Amazon drivers, our teachers, coaches, and our military. These are all the bedrocks of our U.S. economy and country. We rely on them, and they all rely on tires. So just really simply put, tires make mobility possible, and our society depends on them. So today, we'll be discussing, as you said, how we as drivers play a bigger part and role in properly caring for our tires. With so much riding on them, it's kind of a no-brainer. And so, Kevin and I are here today to really help empower drivers with information and knowledge about what they can do for themselves, their family, their friends, and others to be safe on the road. And I might add, it's not that difficult, nor does it take much time. Taking good care of your tires just takes moments, and it has other benefits in addition to safety that we'll talk about too. Mm-hmm. Simple things like just checking your tires to make sure they're properly inflated can extend the life of them, so you don't have to buy them as often. Mm-hmm. And proper tire pressure can save you money at the gas pump. So it's just a bit of a teaser on what's coming in our discussion today. But thanks, it's great to be here.
Fantastic. And Kevin, welcome. Thank you for being here. I know that you guys have lots going on as well, so I appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Mark. Tire Industry Association is the world's leading experts in technician training as well. And I think that's probably what we try and bring to the table is just the practical side of it, the boots on the ground, if you will. And to add to what Kim said, it's not just the trucks and the cars, but it's getting the food out of the fields. It's getting the rock out of the quarry to build roads. It's the mining for all the batteries and everything else that we need in our lives. So, I mean, it does. The world runs on tires, and TIA, we're all about tire safety, and we believe that tire safety starts with proper training. And we focus on training the technicians to properly service those tires and safely, but as well, not overlooking the importance of educating the consumers and motorists. So we really look forward to Tire Safety Week and an opportunity to remind people of, like Kim said, just some of the simple things that you can do to improve safety, lower costs, and just really, make your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it comes down to, is just simplifying what needs to be simplified. Everyone has their lives to go about and do, but this is a big aspect of our lives, like you both mentioned there. I think that's really important. So let's get right into National Tire Safety Week. Of course, we're just on the eve of it. And Kim, I know that your association spends the entire year, of course, promoting and working to promote tire safety. But we look at this week in particular. Why do we feel such a need to identify a particular week in the year to really bring added awareness to something like National Tire Safety Week?
Yeah, well, let me start by just saying, the U.S. Tire Manufacturer Association, which is ustires.org, if people want more information, we represent 12 companies who produce tires in the United States. They're iconic, they're trusted brands like Bridgestone, Continental, GT, Goodyear, Hankook, Kumho, Michelin, Nokia, and Pirelli, Sumitomo, Toyo, and Yokohama. And several of our members have been manufacturing tires for over 100 years. Safety is their number one priority. And when it comes to protecting drivers on the road, all of the R&D that they undertake is designed to ensure that people are driving on the safest tires possible. But tire safety is also the responsibility of the consumer. We as drivers, and all drivers, need to play an active part in taking regular care of their tires. So our 12 members created National Tire Safety Week. It's an annual initiative, and the aim is to really raise awareness about tire safety and to educate motorists about simple and important steps for proper tire care and maintenance that are essential to road safety. And we typically take a week because we rally with a lot of partners like Anyline. We know kids are out of school, graduations have taken place, so we look at the week leading into July 4th as an opportune time to really get to kids, students, parents, as lots of individuals and families are kicking off their summer fun. Many of them are heading on a good old American road trip. Mm-hmm. So as we pivot to summer, we want drivers to take a moment to pause and really think about what's riding on their tires, to have that aha moment where they're presented with easy steps and where they can say, yeah, I'm heading with my children or with my loved ones or friends on a road trip, and I heed recommendations. So as I just said, I do want to give a shout out shout out to our partners, because an extremely important part of this initiative is with all of our partnerships with other road safety stakeholders, partners like the Tire Industry Association, who are here today, who represent all segments of the tire industry and passionate as we are about it. In addition to TIA, we're grateful for partners like AAA, like Discount Tire, many state departments of transportation, the American Trucking Association, the national lieutenant governors, local police and sheriff departments, and new partners like Anyline and Students Against Destructive Decisions. So while I can't name them all, like every single one of them plays a very important role in helping us get information to American motorists. And for that, we're incredibly grateful. And I think, the power of many speaks this week. I truly believe we can raise awareness and help drivers get in a good practice of caring for their tires.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I think everyone moving forward on the same page and understanding the importance of it. And you mentioned a lot of great organizations there that are doing incredible work. And I think it's a national campaign. It's something that everyone in the world has to get on board with and really understand a bit better. I love how you outline that. Now, Kevin, coming to you, I know your association in particular are absolutely dedicated to improving the practical processes, and we'll get into some practical tips later on. So for those listening, wait around for these. I know Kevin's just has some fantastic tips and things that he's going to share a little bit later on. But can you add to what Kim just shared when it comes to this week in particular and what it means for you personally, someone who's been in the industry for so long, and of course your association?
Well, I think from the association standpoint, our mission statement, the first line is to improve tire safety through training and education. Mm-hmm. So any efforts to improve tire safety are going to be welcomed by TIA. We are a very strong advocate for tire safety in the workplace. Of course, the men and the women that are putting these tires on these vehicles and keeping America running in that standpoint, making sure that they have the proper training that they need to do it safely for themselves, and as well as, safety for the motoring public. I mean, as Kim said, a lot's riding on your tires. And, when the tires go flat, the car's not going to move. The truck's not going to move. Whatever it is stops in its tracks. So, maintenance is not just a one-way street in terms of the professionals like our members and the others who use our training, but certainly the motorists as well, and the owners and the drivers, and what are their responsibilities, and how can they, be active in promoting their own safety by following just a few basic maintenance tips and really focusing on what's the most important things. And I think that's what we try and at TIA, we like to hit it down to the core components. And that really is going to be in those specific areas. So anything that we can do to raise awareness, anything that we can do to improve tire safety, it's going to benefit us. It's going to benefit our members. It's going to benefit our members' customers. We deal with the public. So we want to make sure that they're educated as well. And we're just happy to be part of it and proud to be a partner with the USTMA on this important initiative every year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an individual thing. It's a total industry aspect as well. And I love that this focus this week, especially ahead, like Kim, like you mentioned there, ahead of summertime, I think is a fantastic time to everyone's thinking about it more and more. And this is an opportune time to really get it ingrained in our behaviors and make it a standard moving forward. So no, that's fantastic. I love it. And I love that this week is getting the awareness it should, and hopefully we're going to help to do that with this show as well. So let's talk about a few different stats that we saw recently and see kind of what your guys' thoughts are on moving them forward. So we recently ran a survey related to general tire knowledge when it comes to maintenance and replacement in the US, and discovered that an alarming 72%, nearly 3/4 of drivers lack knowledge about their tire safety. Kim, I know this number will be a shock to most listeners, but I would love your thoughts on what this means as far as potential opportunity when it comes to encouraging further engagement, further education from your associated organization. 72% is a lot, but that means a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. That really is quite a sobering figure, and it's hard to understand with, again, so much riding on our tires that fact alone doesn't really propel people to care for them more vigilantly. Today's cars and tires are sophisticated and safer than ever before, and I think there's an over-reliance sometimes on technology, not enough personal responsibility until we face an issue where, and until we do so, again, we typically take tires for granted. I just think personally, as a mom raising 2 adult daughters, I wanted my girls to be informed and empowered. So as soon as they started driver's education in high school, I became a more vigilant teacher, I think. So educating children, especially early, is when patterns and routines develop, and driver ed was, for me, the perfect catalyst to begin teaching my daughters about the importance of tire safety. I think everyone should know where their local tire professional is located and have that contact information in their cell phones. I also think they should know where to locate information about recommended tire inflation, which is so critical to tire safety, in the car's owner manual or in the driver's door frame. And for National Tire Safety Week, I think there's a real opportunity, again, to inform and empower and educate motorists to do their part. And we like to play on that acronym PART, P-A-R-T. P stands for pressure. Check your tire pressure monthly, especially before long road trips or if you're carrying extra weight in the car. We've got, Kevin can talk about underinflated tires. They generate heat, buildup, and stress, causing irregular wear and tire damage. Overinflated tires are more likely to be punctured or damaged when hitting an obstacle. So good tire pressure is important. So P for pressure, A for alignment. How do you know when it's time to get your alignment check? As a routine part of maintaining your tires, you should check the alignment with every other oil change or as specified by your owner's manual. Rotate. So P for pressure, A for alignment, R for rotate. Rotate your tires as recommended by the manufacturer or every 5,000 miles. And T for tread. Routinely look for signs of tread wear or damage. And regularly checking your tires tread can reduce any involvement in a crash. We often talk about a penny test, which we'll get to later, but it's an easy way to determine if your tires are worn out. And I know Kevin and Tia will talk about the tread wear bar. So just spending a few minutes each month on maintenance can make a difference in your tire safety, your life, and your ease and peace of mind. You don't need to be an expert. You just stick to those 4 essentials, know where to locate a tire professional, know where your owner's manual is, and check your tires monthly. And I think that's, it's as easy as that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Kevin, we talked a lot about, Kim just mentioned a lot of specifics there. In the training you do, this must just be something you just have to do over and over as a repetitive way to really ingrain this knowledge in who you're training, right?
Yeah, I mean, from the technician side of it, again, we're looking at the big details and really getting into the finest of the details in terms of servicing. But we do have some consumer education mechanisms out there as well. And I think that's the other side is that, to Kim's point, play your part is those are all great tips, but what are the details behind it? Okay. What does it mean to check the pressure? Where do I get the numbers? How often, alignment, rotation, and tread, they're all things that we can do that are preventative. And I think that's, as you said, I've been doing this 40 years and I started in a dealership as a technician with my family and I've done road service calls and I've rescued people on the sides of the roads during their vacations. And it's always the same thing. I didn't think it was going to be a problem until it was.
Okay.
And I think tires are a lot like that. They are overlooked. They're the Rodney Dangerfield on the vehicle. We just expect them to work. And when they don't, then it's a problem. And I think that if motorists, if consumers took steps ahead of time to prevent those issues, to do what we call preventive maintenance, then you're going to avoid a lot of those things. There are still going to be instances where you hit a pothole or you hit a curb or there's some unforeseen, impact or damage that renders a tire, useless. And that's going to happen. I mean, I've been doing this 40 years and it's happened to me before. I think the question is that what can we do to prevent, the ones that are preventable? And then what do we do when it does happen? I mean, I think something as simple as just knowing how to put your spare on. Every motorist should know how to put their spare on their car, and you'd be surprised. I didn't see that in your survey, but next year maybe you can add that in there. Is that do you know how to put your spare on your tire on your car? I think you'd be surprised. I know I would be when we ask people that they don't even know how to they don't even know where it is in some cases. So I think education is going to be a big start to that. And again, if we can get people, kind of at the base level, then we can build their tire knowledge up, and tires can be something that they know they're going to have to buy, but they'll know when and they'll be able to plan for it. And they're not going to be in a situation where they're standing at the counter in front of one of our members, needing 2 tires when they really need 4, and they're trying to go on vacation next week and they're looking at a pretty hefty tire bill because they didn't do things 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago to extend the life of that tire and get the most out of it.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. I'd be curious, Kevin, obviously an extended career you've had in the industry. Do you see things improving? Like when you go to train people, do you find people are more accepting, they're more willing to want to learn, or has it always been kind of a push that this is something you need to know? Or is there a change? Do you see a change happening?
At the dealer level, yes.
Yeah.
A tremendous change at the dealer level, just from the standpoint of recognizing the importance of safety. I mean, there's a lot of layers to safety, whether it's the safety of the employee or the safety of the customer. But I think just the culture change. And at one point in time, there was, a lot of fast. We got to get it done fast. We got to get it done quick. And I think that the dealer channel, at least, has kind of adjusted to a little bit of that and say, let's make sure we're doing it safely. And let's make sure we're following all the guidelines established by the USTMA and OSHA and everybody else that's kind of responsible for that side of it. We kind of say every OSHA regulation was written in blood. And it's not overstating it from the truck tire side of it, because it was. A lot of people got hurt.
Yeah.
And I do see changes there happening fast. I probably don't see them as much in the retail. Based on your survey, I would say that we have a lot of work to do on the consumer motorist side. But I think internally with the USTMA efforts and the TIA efforts, we've done a really good job of reaching people. And it's a pretty safe industry for the if you think about the numbers. I mean, what is it, 200 and some million replacement tires in the U.S., Kim, annually?
Yeah, something like that.
And how many millions and trillions of miles do they deliver safely? But it's those episodes where the bad things happen, where we didn't do something and it goes bad and it can end tragically. And I think that's what we're both, committed to, is to let's solve this. Let's change this. And Tire Safety Week is one of those ways where, if we can get 20 people to go out there and check their tires and prevent an accident when they're taking their family on vacation, my job's done. I'm good for the day. I can rest easy this weekend and know that I did my job. And I know Kim would feel the same way, because, we both are committed to that. And I think that's the steps that we got to take is what can I do as the motorist? What can I do as the driver to make my car safer and take care of my family and everybody who's in that vehicle? And at the same point in time, lower my costs and be able to plan for these expenses. I mean, the days of 1999 tires are over, and they're never coming back. It's a sophisticated product that is able to operate in any condition. And yet, if you don't do the few key things that you have to do, it's a tire swing. It's a sandbox. So I think that's probably what we're trying to focus on as well. Is we've done a good job internally. Let's get out to the next step, and let's start getting to motorists and really trying to improve safety, on the highway.
Yeah, I think that's a great one.
I'll add to that too. I think it's fantastic having members and partners, because some of our partners are doing some really cool things for Tire Safety Week. They'll have free tire inspections where you can roll in and have your family take a look at, or have the tire professional take a look at your tire and do a wellness check. In years past, we've had people hit a high school and walk around a high school and look at tires and parked in a high school parking lot. And give like an inspection check there. We've had people partner with there's a phenomenal outpouring. And I think both Kevin and my organizations have an extensive amount of consumer information, easy to read, easy to understand on our websites. I know we have, Tia has videos on YouTube, and it is not going to be for lack of partners and our organizations trying to educate and get the word out. So I think it's just very important for people to stop and listen and just take action. It does not have to be an hour worth of their day. They can do it simply and quickly and be on their way and have peace of mind and know that themselves, their families, and others on the road will be protected.
Yeah, I think that's really well said, and it's true. It doesn't have to be a lot. People don't have to think of it as an overwhelming learning experience. This is something that a little bit at a time, and this week is meant to raise awareness to that fact that it's not an overwhelming thing. It can be a standard part of life, and it should be. I think. And
I would add real quick, Mark. I'd add to that please. To say that you don't need Tire Safety Week to go to get your tires inspected by a professional. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you find that the tire professionals in your area and you go to them and say, hey, look, I'm going on a long trip and I would appreciate it if you took a look at my tires. I can't think of very many that wouldn't take the time to at least go out and get an air gauge and do a visual check of your tread to let you know where you stand. I mean, and I think that, we're doing it in Tire Safety Week, as Kim said. It's part of the promotion to get people to do it, but you don't have to do it just this week. You can do it any week. You could do it this week, next week, or next month. But it's again, understanding the role that tires play. And Kim gives us a shout out to our videos. Our YouTube channel is Tire Safety Starts Here. You go to YouTube and type in Tire Safety Starts Here, you're going to see TIA. We've got a whole series of 5 to 6 minute educational videos on one, how to install a spare tire and how to properly repair a tire, and tire selection, tire maintenance, tire inflation. I mean, there's so much information out there. Kim's organization, they have so many of their own consumer education, pieces that are out there. So exactly, it's not a shortage of information or a shortage of resources. It's a shortage of awareness. Mm-hmm. And if we can raise awareness, then we can get them to the resources. And if they get to the resources and follow those recommendations, then, we're all going to be the better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what it has to be. And that's what we're doing, right? That's exactly it. It's not for lack of resources.
That's why we're here.
It's for lack of awareness for those resources. I think the content you both have and the studies and the reports and the videos, it's all there. It's all accessible. It's not complicated, but the awareness for that is what we need. And I think that's perfect. That's why we're here. Exactly. So that's fantastic. And you alluded to this as well, and I'd love to come to it as well as the tire itself is such a technical masterpiece. There's so much money that goes into the R&D for these tires. But if you don't maintain them and you don't properly take care of your tires, they won't operate as they have been designed to. And we see, incredible stats come where we have, Kim, from your study, you have a stat that says tires are 3 times more likely to be involved in a crash than tires that have sufficient tread depth. We have a stat that said we have 42% of drivers, nearly half of the drivers don't regularly check their tread depth. So if that stat matches 42%, that's going to lead to some big numbers and some big, issues on the road. So if you don't take care of these tires, you don't take care of how they are designed to be, we're going to start to see, numbers not increase or numbers not decrease in incidents. We're going to see an increase if more and more people are buying and we're seeing more of these issues. So I think that's a stat that we definitely want to see improve over time, given this awareness factor, right, Kim?
Yeah, well, I would say to that by the way was a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, a NHTSA statistic, and they're part of the Department of Transportation as a government agency. But I wanted to back up for a second and just share, tires are the only part of the car that touch the road, and their grip is essential and plays an essential role in your safety. It directs your ability to brake, to turn, to accelerate, to stay stable at high speeds. All of that depends on your tire's grip. And the next time you're driving, consider this. For those of you who are not watching on video, hold up your hand and consider this. The contact patch of each tire is about the size of an adult palm print, the size of your palm. That's just 4 areas of tread, the size of your hand, controlling the automobile and connecting you to the road every time you drive. So when consumers don't take care of their tires, they put themselves and other drivers at risk. And that NHTSA stat says basically that vehicles driving on underinflated and worn out tires are more likely to be involved in a crash. They warn that driving on tires that are underinflated by more than 25% are 3 times more likely to be involved in a crash related to tire issues than vehicles with proper inflation. So poor tire maintenance is the root of this. Not having enough air in your tires and failing to rotate your tires can lead to a flat tire or blowout or the tread coming off your tire. And so, it's important to take care of them, again, which is why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Kevin, obviously in your career, you've probably seen, let's call it a few things, and different experiences on properly maintained tires. Yeah, too many is one is too many as far as I'm concerned. But can you give some specific examples of what drivers can expect to see if they do take proper care of their tires, looking at the positive side of this?
Well, we'll take them in order. We'll start with tread. And as Kim said before, you can use the penny test. And there's also, every tire has tread wear indicators. And in the major grooves of the tires, there's a little bump. It's a little hump in there. We call them wear bars. And those wear bars, or those indicators, are at 2/30 seconds tread depth. Okay, so if the rubber on either side of that little bar in the groove is worn even, then your tire has less than 2/30 seconds tread depth, which means your wet stopping distance is going to be compromised. Right? Bottom line, there's no way around it. I mean, if you don't have proper tread depth and you try and stop in wet conditions, your stopping distance is going to be affected. Even with ABS and ESC and
all the
ADAS and all this other stuff that we have, it's not going to make a difference if that palm print is completely smooth and it's riding on water.
Yeah.
So, I think we start there, and it's a simple check. There's a little triangle or a symbol on the shoulder, and that'll direct you to where those wear bars are. You can just find that little wear bar, run your finger across to the first major groove, and then run your finger carefully in the groove, and you'll feel a little bar there, a little hump. That's what you're looking for. That's the visual inspection, okay? And if any of those grooves are worn even with that, the tires need to be replaced.
Yeah.
And it's another thing, too. If you're checking them regularly, you're going to see how gradually the tires just kind of wear down. So you're going to be like, oh, well, it's not worn even yet, but it's getting close. So now I'm planning for a tire purchase. Okay, and we love that in our industry from the retail side of it, when they come in and they've got that 3:30 seconds or that 4:30 seconds, and they're saying, look, I need to shop for tires now. Okay, the tread is getting pretty close to the wear bar. Now's the time to stop shopping for tires, instead of waiting until it rains, skidding into a pole or something, and then now you've got body work that's going to have to be done as well. Or as Kim and I both well know, the tragic side of that is you can actually have loss of life from the standpoint of it's a vehicle careening out of control at speed on a highway. It's going to stop when it hits something, and unfortunately it can end badly. So you start with tread wear, and then you go to inflation. The inflation side of it, if you're properly inflating your tires, then, you can hit that curb or that pothole maybe, and you're not going to blow it out, or you're not going to destroy the tire. You're not going to improve heat. I mean, everybody sees gators. We call it gator season on the sides of the roads. I hate that. I mean, that's not, and it's what it is. It's underinflation. What you've got is you've got a tire there that's been run underinflated to the point where the heat internally is separating the components. Tires are built by heat, so they're taken apart by heat. So if you don't have proper inflation, you're going to get that. So if you're properly inflated, you don't have to worry about those tread separations. You don't have to worry about those issues because your tires are flexing properly. They're running at the right temperature. They're going to perform the way that they were designed to perform. To Kim's point before, it's one of the most highly engineered products in the world. And yet, if you don't have proper tread depth and you don't have proper inflation pressure, you could be dead in the water. You could be out of control. There's all kinds of bad things that can go from that. So it's the air pressure that's going to carry the load, and it's the tread that's going to stop the vehicle. And if you don't have those two things, then A, you can't carry the load, and B, you can't stop the vehicle. So I think those are two important steps that motorists can take. If you just check those two things, you're going to get better tire life. If you going back to Kim's about rotate. On a front-wheel drive vehicle, the front tires wear faster than the rear because they're doing two things. They're driving the car. It's driving the car, and it's steering, and most of your braking. So if you don't rotate your tires, you're going to be replacing those front tires in 10, 15, 20,000 miles. If you rotate your tires every 5 to 7,000 miles, you can get 40, 50, 60,000 miles out of a set of tires, but you have to rotate them. Yeah. If you don't rotate them, then you're going to get worn tires on one axle, and you're going to get good tires on the other that are starting irregular tread wear patterns because they're not loaded properly. So it's all part of these things. If you can follow these basic maintenance steps, your safety improves, your fuel mileage improves, your tire costs are going to get lower because they're going to last longer. I mean, I'm a third generation tire dork. I can't help it. I start seeing even a little bit of difference in tread depth between the front and the rear, and I'm rotating my tires. But I get 40, 50,000 out of every set of tires because I'm inflating them properly. I'm rotating them regularly. And one point that we haven't brought up is TPMS. Kim had said before, 25%. TPMS is not the light that, hey, I should probably start thinking about my tires. TPMS is the light that, look, these tires have been underinflated for a long time to a severe level, and immediate action is necessary. And I think that's the point that we would want to drive there is don't wait for something to happen. Don't wait for the problem. I mean, if you see that light come on and then it goes off, well, it came on for a reason, and especially like not so much this time of year, but it's temperature related. Cool mornings, the light goes on, you drive the car, the light goes off. Oh, the light went off, I'm all good. No, you are not good. Those tires were underinflated, and then the heat of the road and the air rose the temperature to the point where the light goes off. So now you got this cycle. You're doing this heat cycle with the tire. You're doing this, and it's hot and it's cold, and it's hot and it's cold. And we want a nice equilibrium. We want that pressure to be nice and steady, so the heat is nice and steady, so those tires are going to last longer. And I think that's part of it in maintaining the TPMS. We fight with that a lot with motorists is, it's $30 a piece for a new sensor. Well, if I can protect a $200 tire with a $30 sensor or a $40 sensor, that seems like a good deal for me. Yeah. Because now I'm going to get that warning, and I've had TPMS save me 3 times. Where I didn't even realize it because it's a real low profile tire. The sidewall's real short. It's very hard so it doesn't squat like the old tires, right? And the light comes on. And I'm like, well, I can't tell. I'm a tire guy, 40 years in this business, and I can't tell which one's flat. You know what I got to do? I got to get an air gauge and go out there and gauge the tires. Sure enough, one of the tire was 5 pounds low. I never would have caught that without TPMS. Yeah. And it was on my wife's car. So it's one of those things that if you look at the big picture, and focus on all those preventative measures that we can take, our costs go down, our safety goes up, our fuel mileage gets better. There's so many benefits to proper tire maintenance. And we just got to get people to understand that and be active and be proactive and do something for themselves and for their vehicle and for their pocketbook. Yeah.
I think it's also tricky too about tire punctures. So Kevin, I'm going to ask you to jump in as well. So whether it's a small tear or a large puncture resulting in a significant loss of pressure, we recommend that your tire be inspected by a qualified tire expert and only a professional is going to be able to determine whether that inner casing has been damaged and making it impossible to repair. So, Kevin, I'm sure you have a point of view about tire punctures too.
Yeah, I'm going to say this right now. Don't ever plug your tire unless you're going to be getting it repaired properly right away.
Great point.
All right. The on the wheel repairs, and we go to the tire professional, and the tire professional says it's going to be $25 or $30 to repair the tire or whatever they charge. And they'll plug it down the street for $5 or $10. Well, as Kim said, first of all, you can't inspect the inside of the tire. And I have a prop that's on the other side of my office. I'd have to get up and move it and show you, but it's a cutaway of a tire that shows a nail kind of in the middle of the tread, but the nail's got a hook on it, and it actually wore away the sidewall to where there's severe damage on the inside of the tire. Well, I can get it to stop the leak. I can pull the nail out and stop the leak. But if the damage on the inside is severe, now you've got a false sense of security. You're thinking, oh, it's fixed. Let's load up the family and go to the beach. And halfway to the beach, the tire fails, not because of the plug, but because the damage that was caused on the inside of the tire that you couldn't inspect. And it's actually in one of our videos, our Tire Safety Starts with Proper Tire Repair. It's a viral video. It's over 1 million views, and it shows what happens. And to Kim's point, when the tire goes through the footprint, you can just see where it is. You can see the nail. We actually put a camera inside a tire to show a nail going inside of a tire with lights. It was a pretty cool thing. But I think it's to Kim's point, the proper tire repair is to remove it from the wheel, get it off the rim so we can inspect the inside, and then we're going to do a proper tire repair. We're going to remove the damage. We're going to fill the injury. We're going to put a patch on the inside. All right, so we've stabilized the area around we're not letting water get into the steel belts, and we've got a patch on the inside to not let the air get out. That's a proper tire repair, and proper tire repairs are going to last the life of the tire if it's properly inflated. So even a proper tire repair doesn't guarantee anything because it still comes down to inflation. So, it definitely plays a role. And again, if I could just if you're going to get a tire plug because there's no place else to go, get it properly repaired as soon as possible, unless they have x-ray vision and they can see inside the tire. Then you don't have to worry about it. But we haven't found that yet. That technology doesn't exist. So, the best thing is to just get the tire off the rim and let a professional inspect it and make that determination so that you don't have that false sense of security.
So outside of a puncture, obviously we can't predict these things, and that's that stops you in your track more or less. It sounds like when we look at a lot of these different aspects that simply being proactive in how you take care of your tire has a massive impact on the entire experience, whether you encounter a rainstorm on your drive that you can't predict, or the road gets a bad condition, or you have to load your car up extra. Simply by taking care of your tires on a regular basis, setting reminders, just being punctual about it, that can cause a lot of problems to disappear.
Yeah, Mark, I would say that's really, again, the educational and awareness piece that we're trying to impart upon American motorists on National Tire Safety Week, right?
Yeah.
We're just remember this an acronym. We're asking people to be proactive and do their part, PART. P, check your pressure monthly. A, get your alignment checked. R, rotate your tires. And T, inspect the tread of your tires. So if you don't remember anything, PART, and know where your tire professional is. And I think that, if you've got any questions about these steps, your local tire professional can help. TIA and USTMA have information on our websites that can also help. But really, the proactivity is critical, and drivers doing their part is critical.
Yeah, and taking steps, whether proactivity doesn't have to mean, go to your tire shop today. It just means anything. Do something. Educate yourself. Look at these videos. Read one of the studies. Just educate yourself a little bit more. And honestly, by simply listening to this podcast, people are being more proactive than they were, just beforehand. So I think any type of step forward is the proactivity that we want to see that shows awareness is working, and it'll lead to hopefully further discoveries down the road. Kevin, this must be the approach that you take as well with your association, is just getting people to do something no matter what that is, right?
Yeah, I think just pay attention.
Yeah.
I think that it's an aspect of vehicle maintenance that's incredibly important. And oil changes and the other mechanical maintenance that you do, brakes and as Kim said, alignment. Those all play a role. But the things that the consumer has control over. You're not going to change your own oil. Mm-hmm. Those days are pretty much in the past. There's a handful of people out there that still do it, but for the most part, you're going to have a professional do that too. So other than check the oil, that's really all you can do. And I think on the tire side of it, again, with inflation pressure, you lose 1 to 2 PSI a month. There's no way around that. You can slow it with nitrogen, mm-hmm. but tires are going to lose pressure. It just diffuses. And it's nothing. It's just the way that the mechanical nature of the product itself is. You can't make it perfectly airtight and still flexible and still make it operate in all different weather conditions. I mean, where else can you buy something that you can start it in northern Canada and drive it to Mexico and it will endure every temperature, climate, road condition. I mean, it doesn't matter what it does as long as it's properly inflated. We can take it from Panama to Nome, Alaska, and back. And as long as it's properly inflated and the tread depth is correct, it's going to deliver every single one of those miles. But if you don't have the right pressure, if you don't have the right tread, if it's worn because of alignment to the point that the steel is showing, you've got steel cords showing in the shoulder, again, now that's that false sense of security. And I think, again, we just want you to pay attention. If people just paid attention, and even if they don't want to do it themselves, as Kim said, take it to your local tire professional. Take it to them and say, hey, look, I just saw this podcast on tires and I really don't know what to look for. Mm-hmm. Can you help me? Show me where these wear bars are. Okay, show me where I can find my proper pressure. Where is my spare? And then, educate yourself, as she said. We've got those videos out there. They're 5 to 6 minutes. They're great little short snippets. They're great for new drivers. They're great for older drivers. They're great for drivers that just don't want tires to become a problem, because when they become a problem, they can become a major problem. And I think what we're trying to do is prevent that and get to the positives of these are all the great benefits of proper tire maintenance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, Mark. Oh, sorry, Mark.
Please.
I was going to say, in addition to everything that Kevin and I have said, mm-hmm. if that doesn't inspire people to act, the bottom line is, in addition to keeping you safe, well-maintained tires last longer and they improve fuel economy. Well-maintained tires can help drivers save as much as 11 cents per gallon on fuel by properly inflating our tires. That's according to NHTSA. And the Department of Energy says that keeping your tires at recommended tire pressure levels can improve gas mileage by up to 3%. So for all of us, and I can't think of anybody who's not, feeling, the impact of the economy. We can save some money here, and your tires last longer, and it also protects the environment. And there's a whole different conversation we can have about that. So that's the bottom line. Keeping your tires well maintained, keep you safe, keep others safe on the road. They can improve your wallet, and they can help Mother Earth.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic final point, honestly. And there's a lot of different reasons to be proactive. There's a lot of different reasons to do something now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's convenient, to do something now. And I think that's this whole point of Tire Safety Week, is to bring added awareness, make more people aware of how simple it can be, and how simple it should be for everyone. Again, like you said, Kevin, as well, just take it to the tire shop, get educated. They're there for you. Associations like this are educating people in the industry, professionals, so that they can help you take care of what's on the road and keeping you in contact with the road. Like we said at the very beginning, it's the only piece of the vehicle that touches the road. And so it should be given a fair amount of attention, given how much attention we take care of our cars. A fantastic discussion, Kevin, Kim. Thank you so very much for all of this. I've got so many notes. I'm sure those listening do as well.
That's our job.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me more notes, make people more aware. I'll definitely link to those video series to both of your websites. Lots of information there for those listening if they want to just learn a little bit more. You've taken the first step. You've listened to this podcast. You've listened to this short. Go ahead and take that next step and just learn a little bit more. And so I think that's a final and a great takeaway. Kim, Kevin, any final notes before we sign off?
I want to thank Anyline. I want to thank the Tire Industry Association, and I want to give a big shout out to all of the members of companies at U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association. Without you guys, this awareness initiative wouldn't be possible. And so it's important. I know everybody out there loves somebody and has a loved one. So even if you just turn to your mom, your dad, your children, your friends, to give them, some information, that's good enough. So be safe out there. Happy 4th of July, everybody. And thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. And Kevin, any final notes from you?
Yeah, I would echo the same. Thanks for everybody for making this possible, and USTMA for inviting us to be part of this this webcast. As well, our members are diverse. All the USTA members are also members of TIA. They're involved in this as well, so they're engaged in it. And again, the TIA members that are out there, the majority of our membership are the tire dealers, your tire professionals. And it's everything from the mom and pops to the big, chains like Discount. And we all want the same thing. We all want tire safety. And we want these products to deliver. We want these products to perform. But the consumer has to do their part as well. And anything we can do to raise that awareness and make these products safer is going to help our customers in the long run. It's going to help our members in the long run. It's going to help the environment. And there's just so many positives that come out of it. And if we can just get people to take a minute or two to focus on those round black things on the ends of your wheels, they definitely play a big role. And we're very thankful that we get to play our role in the education side of it. And again, we're just anytime we get a chance to talk about tire safety, we're going to be right there and happy to be part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure having you both. And I think you've both done exactly that. And that's why we're here. We're happy to support any way we can. And that's why we're actively involved in this promotion this week. And I can personally say I'll be much more active moving forward as it's such an important thing, even over here in Europe. It doesn't get the attention that we have in the US with it. We have obviously a lot fewer vehicles than maybe per person in the US, but it's still a very important thing going into the summer. So I'll definitely make more of an effort. That's my takeaway from today as well. I'm going to go check my tires before I drive home, run my finger across the edge of that tread.
Yeah. Just be careful. Just, if it's really worn down there, sometimes the steel, if it's too far out on the edges, but it's easy to do. And exactly. You'll be very happy if you take a little more active role in your tire maintenance. Your costs will go down and everything goes up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, perfect. Great. Well, again, thank you both very much for being with me today. It's been fantastic having you. And to everyone listening and watching this podcast, thank you so much for taking that first step in your tire awareness. Learn a little bit more during Tire Safety Week. That's what it's here for. You'll see a lot coming out from a lot of manufacturers, a lot of associations. And so take that opportunity to learn a little bit more about your tires and take advantage of the opportunities that maybe dealerships in your area, manufacturers, service providers are doing as well. They're obviously going to be doing a lot for this week. So keep an eye on the sky for it. And just pay a little bit more attention to your tires. If you have any questions about what you heard on this podcast or you want to look at more resources, head down to the notes. You'll see a bunch of different links going on there, including links for LinkedIn for Kevin, Kim, and myself. If you have any questions about what you heard today or you want to add a thought to this podcast, please go ahead and do that. We love encouraging those conversations, okay? Thank you again for joining me on this podcast, everyone. We wish you a fantastic day, a safe day. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Auto Tech Show very soon. Bye for now.